This is the voice of disruption. Voice of Disruption, welcome back. I'm Ken Rutkowski as we, of course, meet people that are transforming the business landscape as well as themselves. We're finding out what disrupts them. Joining me is Dolly Singh. Now, Dolly, first, thanks a lot for hanging out.
Hi.
I've watched you first from afar. When I first saw you was from an interview that was done on Bloomberg, I think 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And they basically said, this individual is, and I hate to use the words they said, is like the Elon Musk for shoes.
I will take that as a great compliment.
Big shoes to be in, right?
Yeah, it's big shoes to fill, no pun intended.
Big ones. So let's first talk about your past jobs have been very challenging when it comes to walking around, right?
Yeah.
Some of the coolest companies you've worked for, I believe, SpaceX and Oculus.
That's right.
Right? 2 companies that are at the cutting edge of everything. You worked in what area of those businesses?
I was the director of recruiting for both SpaceX and Oculus.
Tough job. You had to help find the best team.
Not such a tough job, actually, because both of the missions of those companies are so compelling that the right people will opt in if you sort of build the funnel large enough.
So,
a lot of work, but not that hard.
Did you love your job?
I loved my job.
Loved your job. Kind of took a toll, because I know you're a very fashion-oriented individual. You'd walk around, and it was a bit painful by the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I was probably doing 3 or 4 miles a day in my shoes. And in my 20s, that was no problem. I did it without breaking a sweat. In your 30s, the game changes. And so I just got really curious about why and looked at it like an engineering problem. So 3 years ago, we set out to basically reinvent high heels using structural engineering and advanced materials. So thinking about the inside like you think about the chassis of a car or the blueprint for a bridge, and then keeping the outside with sleek Italian styling and really beautiful materials.
Now, I've talked to different shoe designers, okay? Taryn Rose is a friend of mine, an orthopedic surgeon who designs shoes. It's a challenging space to be within, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very archaic industry. So when you're fighting against an industry that's been doing something one way for 80 to 100 years, and you're saying, we want to do this entirely different thing. Yeah, and for that long, they've been making more and more money, right? So there isn't a reason for them to start over other than us being able to convince the right factories and partners that this is worth doing.
So in their mind, they're saying, why break something if it's not
That's
broken,
not broken.
Right? You're saying it is broken.
That's right.
And I'm a testament to this. We got to fix this. Kind of like what SpaceX was doing, right? They were looking at an industry that was making tons of money, doing the same thing over and over again. And Elon said, hey, it is broken. Let's make something better.
That's right. So the parallel that you would never imagine between rockets and heels that I kind of saw was in rockets, there was the stagnation in the industry produced by risk aversion from the customer. The number one procurer or buyer of rocket launches is the US government.
Right.
And if you're putting $1 billion satellite on a rocket, you don't care if it's 60 million or 200 million. You just want to keep your $1 billion satellite safe.
Makes sense.
Right? So they're willing to pay the extra margin and didn't care about doing it better, faster, cheaper the way that we did at SpaceX. They just wanted to buy the most reliable flight and access to space.
Why
and
don't
it's
people
reliable.
do the heels? Because you're the package, right? Why not have great heels to make sure the individual's kept safe and comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. With heels, what we wanted to do is just like the rocket industry had been stagnant for very long, we wanted to use California innovation, design-based thinking, and apply that to the industry. That's basically what Elon did at SpaceX, right? Same model, is use Moore's law and sort of innovation-based thinking and design principles and apply those to this industry that isn't thinking that way today and doesn't have that kind of engineering talent, and bring those two worlds together. So with shoes, we brought together some really remarkable engineers that have experience at companies like SpaceX, Facebook, Oculus, Oakley, and really remarkable engineering firms, and match them with designers from experience with Manolo Blahnik, Jimmy Choo, Nicholas Kirkwood, and bringing those two worlds together.
It's a dream team.
Yeah, it's a dream team.
It really is. Dolly Singh is joining us. Thesis Couture is the name of her company. We're looking at something that's sitting on our table, which it doesn't look like a pair of shoes could fit in.
No, it's not. It's not shoes.
I actually, as we were having the conversation, I love what you're doing by testing your market.
Yes.
And this is a test of your market. Do you agree with me on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the pet projects we did internally as a team over the last couple of years, because we travel a lot, New York, we're a bi-coastal team, New York and LA. One of the universal problems that all the ladies on the team had is our eyeshadows would break. So the reason your eyeshadows break in your makeup bag is because they slam against each other, because it's an open, empty compartment inside. So it's basically like vibration and shock inside the compartment breaks the makeup. So basically with our shoes, we took out vibration and shock so it damages your foot less. And so we applied that same principle and did a makeup case.
This is a high-end makeup case.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty accessible price point. It's priced at around $150. And it's Italian leather on the outside. And then the inside is engineered with these 20 individual compartments. So each piece has like built-in cushioning. So if you feel that, it's like almost...
That's protecting.
Yeah,
everything.
it's basically keeping everything from breaking. So we've just started to do some fun drop test videos that we'll release on our website soon, kind of dropping it from different distances to show how it works.
But Dolly, this does seem like a diversion from the concept of doing high-end heels.
I think that's a fair question, but I think it's not a diversion in terms of the lifestyle of our customer. So I started Thesis because that woman's life is a life I understand, when you are ambitious, driven, mobile, right? And so the heels that I had to choose from simply weren't good enough for me, and so I wanted to go do that. And this is a similar problem, right? That most makeup cases are really messy. If you go look at your wives or your girlfriends, if you open the makeup case, it's like not a good look. And I like to be organized and clean and neat to whatever extent possible. And since that wasn't available on the market and we think it's important to the lifestyle of that customer, we decided to do it.
But it sounds like you expanded your market. By going in this direction, you're sampling a much greater pool of customers, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, right? We want to be able to have interaction points with customers even if they can't buy shoes today. Similar to the problem that Tesla had, right? Their first model, it was a $100,000 car. So our first shoes were $900. We can't do mass market at $200 a shoe yet. It'll take a while for us to get there, but we want the customers that support us, because a lot of women really love what we do, even if they weren't able to buy a pair of shoes. We wanted to give them an interaction point with the business and the brand.
Dolly, what makes your shoes different?
The shoes are made with an internal architecture called the Thesis Lift. It's advanced polymer internal components that replace the traditional architecture. Most high heels are made with a metal strut called a shank. So it's a single metal piece up the middle of the shoe that's about as wide as your finger. So if you thought about that, like, you know, the chassis for a car, blueprint for a bridge, you wouldn't design it that way, right? Mm-hmm. You'd want something that's shaped more similar to the structure you're
just
supporting.
that alone changes the whole dynamic of the shoe.
Changes all the math, right? Science.
So how do you protect this concept? How do you make sure that, you know, the problem with China's copyright is copy, right? How do you protect yourself?
We have a really, really exceptional IP team. So we work with SoCal IP. I met them while I was at Oculus. So really reputable team of lawyers. That's helpful. We have a patent in place. But I don't think IP protects you in and of itself. Quite frankly, it's a double-edged sword. In the same way that it's a piece of paper saying you did this first, that piece of paper also tells everybody else exactly how to do what you're doing, right? So what protects us is our team. We've got a really remarkable team. In order to compete with us, you'd have to build a team, I think, that's similar or better than ours. And I think that's not so easy to do.
What are you really bad at?
What am I really bad at? That's a terrible question to ask.
No, there's a reason why I'm going to ask you.
I think I'm probably bad at balance.
Work-life balance?
Yeah. No, you met my kids. Yep. I integrate my kids into my life. They've walked SpaceX, right? They were the first kids to experience a full VR room because I brought them to Oculus. So not so much, but like being able to like sort of recharge. And I'm not good at vacationing. I'm not good at unplugging. I tend to be very...
When you go on vacation, it looks like you're still working.
I'm probably still working. I'm trying to hide it from my children, but I'm probably still doing it. Yeah.
So what are you great at?
I think I'm great at building teams. Yeah. I like to work with people that are remarkable and who I learn from and who give me energy and who I really feel like, you know, I mean, life is short, right? You want to spend time with amazing people.
But it's not about building, it's maintaining too. You maintain a culture inside your group. How do you do that? What's the secret of making not just a great team, but keep them together?
I think people have to have a common vision and values, right? It's pretty basic. Like, do we believe in the same thing and do we want to achieve it? And then do we agree on what our rules are in terms of how we engage with one another? And as long as you have those conversations pretty openly, I don't think you have to be like Ray Dalio's culture of having like 1,000 principles, which actually is pretty effective. He's built a good firm, right?
That's right.
But I think what his model shows is that having agreement on the rules and communicating them very openly and transparently. Even at SpaceX, we didn't lie about the fact that it was 80 hours a week. It's part of the charm.
You're in there full time, more than full time. You know, Elon talks about the idea of what or who is your enemy. What is your enemy? What is your enemy?
Also a good question. Time?
Time's your personal enemy.
Yeah.
Not enough of it.
Yeah.
What is your industry's enemy? Like, what are you battling or challenging?
Inertia.
Inertia.
Yeah,
Explain
because
that.
again, when you have an industry that's making billions of dollars a year, it's a $40 billion a year market, doing exactly what they're doing today, it's very easy to keep doing the same thing. So the status quo is our enemy.
Yeah, just staying normal,
Yeah.
which you're not.
Which
You're
I'm
far
not.
from it, right?
Which I'm not.
You're in this digital space, utilizing new technology to conquer a space that has been legacy for the longest time.
That's right.
Is there a lot of women designers?
No, most designers are men, and men design from a place of fetish, and you can't blame them, right? They think about, what do I want my woman to look sexy in? But they don't think about how many flights of stairs, like out here, how many flights of stairs are you walking? Or, what's your actual lifestyle like? So women can design from a center of understanding the customer. Men design from the center of kind of like, what do they want to see from the outside only?
But you're blending both.
Trying to. I want sexy shoes, yeah.
You are. People want to find out more. What's the website?
Thesis Couture.
That's where you go. And you're all over the place. I like watching you everywhere. And it's an honor to have you join us. It
Thank
really
you
is.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Check out what they're doing at Thesis Couture. We have so much going on here over at, of course, Voice of Disruption. I'm Ken Rutkowski. We'll be right back.